Holy shit. I guess we're not getting paid this time. I just fell off of a 16-story building in downtown Knoxville and had a great time doing it. So we'll talk about that, among other things going on. We're Almost Agreement at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. If you're listening to this right now, just jump in your car, keep it on, link your car to, and listen to the podcast on your way downtown to go catch up with the Over the Edge event going on at the Langley Building. It's a fantastic fundraiser for a fantastic group called Arc Knoxville. If you're not familiar with them, we'll talk about that more in a second. But this is an unpaid promotion because I think what they do is really cool, and I want to support what they're doing. And by wanting to support what they're doing, they let me rappel off of the Langley Building. It was amazing. It's going to be a good street party tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. You should go check it out if you have the time. That would be Saturday, the 1st of June. If you're listening to this late, I'm sorry you missed it, and that's your fault, not mine. Anyway, we're Almost in Agreement. We're going to talk about some stuff that's going on this week. Sam and I are in the room. We're going to do what we do. Almost in Agreement is on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Go to your favorite web podcast provider. Like, friend, follow, share, tweet it to your friends, text it to your friends. Whatever you can do to help spread the word, because we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We got elections coming up. We got all sorts of good, fun, exciting things going on, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, I can't not start with, Trump got indicted and found guilty of 34 counts of some weird whatever. Do you have anything that you would like to talk about on Trump getting convicted of his... I don't even know what it is, honestly. I don't even know exactly what the crime is.
I mean, you can read it.
I've read on it.
34 counts.
34 counts of basically, it's basically a fraud charge, essentially. It's that
campaign finance and fraud, yeah. Basically.
Right. Well, the campaign finance part is what makes it a felony as opposed to 34 misdemeanors.
Right.
But it's basically that, he was using company books to pay the hush money. The hush money isn't a crime. It's not illegal. I could pay you $100 to not tell people about what we do in here. Right,
but the way it was filed as
right. And so
lawyer expenses.
Lawyer Jamie out of the woodwork. I haven't talked to him in a while. He hit me up last night. Let me see what he. Let me remember how he started the first time we've talked in months. Oh God, the dear leader was found guilty. And it's like, and it's been all over the socials right now. Everybody's like, from Marsha's Facebook page or Twitter and stuff like that. It's been doing all sorts of stuff. Glenn Jacobs had a objectively funny, whether you agree with or disagree with his stance on it is a separate story, but objectively funny kind of attempt at it. Basically, like, you guys thought wrestling was fake, and then he goes and lists off the problems with, it's a retweet of somebody else who's listing off the problems with how this legal case went down and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter. And so it's like, I don't know, I was going back and forth with Jamie on it, and if you guys remember, Jamie is our lawyer de jure. We keep him around for legal things, even though he's fairly worthless in it, unless it's a very specific subset, because that's how lawyers work. And it's like, what my take on it, it's like, look, first of all, I realize this is not a valid defense in court, but do you think for half a second that there aren't hundreds, if not thousands, of rich fucks that are paying off their mistresses and whatnot for hush money and using business accounts to do it on a fairly regular basis? Do you think that is a common occurrence?
Plausible. I don't know about common.
I personally would say that it's probably a fairly common occurrence. I don't know. I guess we could argue due to the definitions of common occurrence and stuff like that. But I'd say there's probably at least a few dozen a year that happen that we don't know about because they pay the hush money. How long did how many people do you think Diddy paid off for the last 20 years and all the different shit that he's got going on? Sure. I'm sure there was plenty of those going on there. And it's like in the huge list of charges so far on Diddy, I haven't seen this particular type of fraud charge on him. So anyway,
Right, because he paid him out of his own pocket instead of saying that.
I'm sure he paid.
That's what made it a crime. Was he filed it as a business expense? Well, then don't fucking pretend like you're stupid.
Because I'm not stupid.
Well, everybody else does
I would argue that.
I bet you everybody else has done it too.
I guarantee you that
they did it the right way. There was a lot of people have pointed out there was a way to do this legally. He decided not to take that avenue.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Okay.
But I am disagreeing with you is that I would think that the average rich fuck who's paying hush money off to hookers and mistresses and whatnot is probably using some way to make it a taxable whatever, and they're probably doing it in a fraudulent manner. I would argue that that's probably normal.
A lot of probablys.
Okay, and I'm gonna and this is all my assertion on zero facts, because how do I can't prove my case. I can't go up to Elon Musk and be like, hey, how much have you paid in hush money this year?
Right.
And did you pay it through Tesla or did you pay it like out of pocket? Because he doesn't have any money out of pocket anyway, because that's how they fucking fund themselves to live. They don't have their own money. They spend the business money on everything they do. That's how they have all the tax breaks to do. Anyway, so first and foremost, it's not a valid defense. It's not a valid defense to say, okay, well, I got pulled over for speeding, but I know those other people were speeding too. That's still not a valid defense for me not getting a ticket for speeding.
Okay.
I agree with that. Except when it becomes well, everybody's been speeding. It's fairly normal on this road that everybody runs 75 and it's 65 or whatever it is. But one person continuously is the one getting the speeding tickets. There's it's hard not to put conspiracy on that situation. That there isn't a reason that this one isn't happening. Okay. You can shake your head at me all you want. Whether I'm fucking crazy for thinking this or not, that's actually beside my point altogether. I would argue that there are millions of Americans who believe that's a fact. Full stop. That not even
There's millions of people that believe in Bigfoot too.
Okay, you're right. So I believe in fucking Bigfoot, and
I'm not saying you believe in Bigfoot. I'm just saying there are a lot of people. There's a lot of beliefs out there, right and wrong, on both sides.
Okay, but I'm failing to articulate my point. I apologize. I don't believe that this is a new crime in the rich and powerful political, industrial, commercial, whatever you want to call it. The people that are in that echelon of wealth. I don't think this is a new crime that is a rare occurrence. I don't think this is a rare occurrence crime. I think this is a normal crime that gets committed very regularly, many, many times a year by many, many different types of people. And it's hard not to make the leap to say, well, when's the last time you've heard of any of these rich and powerful people? When's the last time you've ever heard of this case being real? But prior to the Trump version of this case, has it ever existed before? Have you ever heard a story about, even like some fucking douche canoe, like what's his face in New York that lies about everything? What's his name? The guy that got expelled.
From New Jersey?
No, the guy
Menendez?
Yeah, I thought he was from New York. Anyway, the Menendez
guy with like the bars of gold or whatever.
No, that's New Jersey. No, I'm talking about the guy that was on the polo team, and even though he wasn't on the polo team, just lied to everybody all the time.
Oh, George Santos.
Yeah, even like a Santos character, I'm sure has done something criminally similar to what Trump did, and that case isn't.
He's on trial. Well, not on trial, but he has been indicted.
Right, for fraud, but not this kind of fraud.
No, not this.
Like this, and if you actually followed the case remotely closely, even legal people that have been in the legal game for a long time said that this is a stretch of the way the law is written anyway. Because the proof that the state was supposed to make is that this was exclusively
I've heard
a campaign
legal
issue.
Analysis on both sides of it. So yes,
there's
always going to be two sides of the coin on a legal analysis.
Okay, regardless, my point is I don't think it's beyond the pale that maybe I should have said this when I said the millions of people. Hundreds, maybe up to 100 million people probably believe that this is not an actual crime that's ever been charged before, that this is a special crime that they created out of whole cloth to get Trump. And I don't think that's a weird thing to say. Now, true or not is not the point.
You think that people believe that special laws were created just to...
I think that this is
try to convict them on laws that they just created out of nowhere.
I'm not saying they created out of nowhere. I think they stretched the law in a way to go after a specific person. I think maybe a better way to put it, and I think this is how I put it to Jamie when I was talking to him too. I think this trial was more about who they were after than what the crime was. I think it was about this was a trial on Trump, not a trial on the crime that Trump committed.
Okay, sure.
And I okay. You disagree?
I disagree, yes.
Okay. Would you like to expound upon your disagreement, or you just want to leave it at you think I'm wrong?
No, I don't think this was as politically motivated as some tried to point it out to be.
Okay. Agree to disagree then. Moving on. I rappelled off a building, and it was super fun. I was super freaked out about it.
What was this for again?
It's a group called ArcNox. They also go by Sunshine Industries. It's a little confusing. But they're a super cool nonprofit. They do adults with disabilities They do job training. They try to get people jobs if they're capable of getting jobs. If not, it's an adults with disabilities group. They cater to that audience, if you will. And this is their annual big fundraiser. It's called Over the Edge. They're doing it at the Langley building this year. I think I pulled it up. I don't know how many stories it is. I wanted to look at that. Google, how tall it is. It's 228,000 square feet. 12 stories. So whatever that is. So it's about 10 feet a story. Give or take.
Maybe.
Yeah, 8 to 10 feet a story. I don't know. It was tall. It's very tall. And I have a heights issue. And it was super scary. But
you did it.
Well, it's one of those like once you get over the edge, which I guess is a good title for it. Once you get over the edge, it's like I don't really have an option at this point.
Yeah. Nobody's going to pull me back up.
I've got to get down. Yeah. And so once I got my ass out there, I was telling one of the other guys that went before me and we were talking about it when we got to the bottom, I was up there at the top and I was holding the rope with my hands and I was trying to hold myself up. And it's like, I'm not strong enough to hold myself up for more than a second or two. This isn't going to last. And so as my lack of muscle and my excess of mass kind of collided, I realized I have to sit into this harness. And then once I sit down in the harness and I felt it and I was secure in my being, I was like, okay, I can do this. And there's these new, I don't know what to call it. It's like it's not the old school rappelling that it's not a handbrake where you're actually holding the rope with your hand.
Yeah.
It's like this device that you're hooked up to and it's got a lever on it. And it's kind of neat, super smart. So if you let go, it holds the rope and you stop. If you pull it a little bit, you go slow. If you pull a little bit further, it goes fast. If you freak out and pull it all the way down, it stops. And so it's a really smart device that makes it really hard to really do anything wrong.
When I saw people rappelling, it was pretty much like the person at the bottom that controlled a lot of the rope movement. Like if they wanted to, and they did it to one guy and literally stopped him halfway down, and I think somebody actually tried to pee on him.
I mean, I know there's a second, this system had a second brake system, but I know in other rappelling situations there's that you have a belay, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Did they do the whole belay or on belay, and then they're supposed to respond belay on?
Yeah, I don't know. They were talking over us, but yeah. I think that happened. And so anyway, it's a really cool thing. If you've got the time and you haven't missed it, I think it starts at 10 Saturday morning, the 1st. So if you're getting this as soon as it releases, just stop what you're doing and go down there, hang out and watch people rappel. You could probably sign up and go ahead and rappel yourself. I don't know exactly what the rules are.
Just sign a waiver.
You do have to sign a waiver. It's a very extensive waiver. But it was a very good time, and hopefully they raise some good money off it because it's a cool. I think it's one of the cooler organizations that I've had business dealings with myself. I was freaked out. The kids came, and one of my kids told me to jump, and I was like, "That's not cool." Then that same kid told me to yell, "Pull the lever, Crunk!"
What?
We watched Emperor's New Groove last week.
Oh.
Pull the lever, Crunk! Wrong lever! It's a great.
Don't remember. Sorry.
That's one of our most quoted little things around the house. We do a lot of Emperor's New Groove quotes in this house. Great movie. David Spade, can't go wrong. John Goodman, good cast.
Eddie Murphy in that too?
Negative.
What am I thinking of?
What's his name? I can't remember his name. He played the Tick, the first live action Tick. Big dude, kind of doofy. He's a character in there. Kronk, great character. I don't know who plays Yzma though. Yzma is the villain.
There was some little red dragon that Eddie Murphy played in a movie. Maybe that was Mulan.
That was Mulan. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
There she is, Yzma. Aretha Kitt? No way.
Wow.
Nice. Anyway, fantastic movie. You should watch it over and over and over again like we have. Not a particularly active week. The city signed off on their budget this week. Amelia Parker picked a good fight, which I thought was pretty entertaining, about Chief Noel and KPD were in there asking for more money, which I think they did get. They're going from $46,000 to $56,000 starting salary for officers. But there was also a lot of cops there working. And so it got into this, it was this kind of sidebar fight that her and Lauren Ryder were in about the amount of police presence because of the protesters that have been showing up and stuff like that. And basically Amelia's like, it's a little bit overkill. You're trying to be a little bit overly dramatic about this. And Lauren said something about apparently a couple meetings ago, somebody followed her back to her car and was yelling and doing shit, being threatening on the way back to the car. And then apparently, I don't know, this is the rumor, apparently that person then got a ride home from Amelia Parker. So that's a little bit weird in and of itself, but a bunch
of protesters have been showing up.
They wanted the stupid fucking Gaza. They want the city council to write a letter to President Biden or whatever.
Okay,
that one. Remember, they keep like the rules, like the city council rules are you're allowed to talk on an item for 5 minutes.
Right, as long as you stay on topic.
As long as you stay on topic, and so everybody was talking on everything that had nothing to do with anything, but they'd figure out how to manipulate it into a Gaza issue. So. Good. I mean, I think it's a fun practice. Apparently, there's Scott. I think Scott was telling me about it. He said he talked to a couple people who had spoken, and that a bunch of them were using AI to generate their.
That's cool.
To generate their speech. It's like that's not. I disagree. I don't think that's cool. I think if you're going to do it, you should probably use your own brain power.
I mean, I've seen ads for was it like Grammarly or whatever. It's supposed to like take a sentence, you can have it like make this paragraph,
more concise, more consistent, more.
Like you're understandable, like friendly or whatever. I think that one of the commercials was like two coworkers that were like emailing back to each other. They almost kind of started getting snotty, but they were using Grammarly to kind of tone it down.
Yeah, I don't know if
be less passive aggressive.
I mean, I'm not saying I like passive aggressive people either, but I don't know what happens when you actually run into that person in the hallway and you're like, oh fuck. Well, I guess they were nice to you on the email, so I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what supposedly the service was helping them do, is be more polite to each other and be more constructive and like, hey, I got your last email. I did look at that and I, formed a different opinion. Here's what I found. Blah blah blah. I don't know.
Fair enough. I don't know. I
don't worry about seeing them in the hallway because you said supposedly, according to that scenario, they toned it down.
Right, and so. They're not upset with the other one because they didn't say the bad thing that they were thinking when they were getting ready to write it.
Right. When they started kind of like writing that snide email. I've had to stop myself a few times.
I've done it. Mostly I've been practicing my Facebook.
Per my last email.
Fuck you. I've been putting myself through the disciplinary actions on self-discipline on Facebook. I've been much better about not picking fights on Facebook.
Well, I applaud you for that.
I don't know.
So Facebook has like some AI now. Some story that like you can't fully turn it off, but you can kind of tone it down a little bit or something.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't know. I we've had a bunch of AI conversations on here, and I just don't know how. Like, I can't figure out. I could see the practical value and functional every day to day, this, that, and the other, but at the same time, it's like, especially like on a social platform, it's like, well, isn't the point to express yourself and your thoughts on a thing? And, using the Grammarly model of like, okay, it would be handy to be able to express my actual opinion in a more constructive or concise manner instead of a rambling sentence that doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm failing. Like, it's the same way I talk. I fail at getting like. I have 10,000 words coming out of my brain, but they don't get out of my mouth at the same pace, and so I get all jumbled on myself. Yeah. It would be handy to have something that could kind of help me correct that and get it out more clearly, but where's the line between that was my idea and how I feel about a situation or whatever it is, and this is just a complete fabrication of the machine? If it's just a prompt, the machine's fabricating it from there. It's like, I
thought some of it was just kind of like ad, and it would just kind of like, it was AI suggestions.
Right. I mean, like Google and stuff had different parts built in for a long time. Like I'll write an email and it'll suggest a correction on just kind of an awkward wording. Like I've gotten I can't remember what it was, but it was something where like the group I was speaking to was like something in, and so like I would say their name and then in, and so it looked like I have two ins, so the word in twice in a row, and it'd be like, you duplicate the word. It's like, no, that needs to be duplicated.
Right.
But stuff like that, I get that like Google has that in it. So does Word now. Like your grammar, like you have grammar correction in Word, but then you also have like, I can't remember. It's one of those like generic ones that kids always use when they're trying to fill in when they're trying to write their paper or whatever, and it's supposed to be 1,000 words, and they're trying to be a really, really wordy.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those phrases like, to whom it may concern, therefore, and it's like, you could just say dear.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, but I need the words, man. Shut up. Leave me alone.
I was at $4.98. I can't just do dear.
Right. Yours sincerely, with great pleasure.
Yeah.
Me.
Is P.S. considered 2 words?
Because there's a period.
Periods.
You're right. There's periods. I think, is it 2
it
sentences?
stands for something. You should write out postscript. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, that was that. I mean, that's the city council passed the budget pretty much as, I mean, there was no, other than the weird little sidebar, KPD's wants more money, but there's a bunch of KPD's officers showing up, and there was argument on whether some of the officers were off duty but showed up in uniform to support their request for more money, or they were there to intimidate the protest possibilities or something like that.
Yeah.
Here, the DNC is going to do a virtual roll call vote for their nomination.
Something about that in Ohio or something.
Chicago. The convention is supposed to be in Chicago.
I thought it was something. I thought they were
Right,
doing
there's something
the
about
virtual thing to get him on the Ohio ballot or
It's
something.
something about the Ohio ballot rules. That's one of the reasons. That's their argument for why. But at the same time, apparently, the governor of Ohio, who is a Republican, and
You sure? I thought he was a Democrat. DeWine?
maybe the governor's not, but whatever. It has been publicly stated that little whatever in Ohio law is getting fixed like as we speak, so it's not that big a deal. Like, so it seems that to me that it's more of a, they don't necessarily want to do the convention as traditional as they usually do. This is a good excuse to not have to do a standard convention, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, I hadn't really heard it in relation to the convention. They're changing the format of the...
Well, normally at the convention is when you do the official nomination votes and all that kind of stuff. They did it virtually in 2020 because of the pandemic, but other than that, it's always at the convention. You have all the delegates that get elected by all the states that... Because, do you remember... did I talk about that on air? I don't remember. Because I remember asking...
About what?
I emailed... about delegates. I emailed Chris Davis, or not Chris Davis, Randy Pace about, like, you know, you have all the, like, when you do your presidential primary ballot, you have all these delegates.
Right.
And it's delegates committed for, uncommitted, whatever. And I remember I got that letter from the weird dude that has the teenage girlfriend or wife, because he wanted me to pick him as the delegate for Trump. And I asked about, like, why the fuck is anybody putting any sort of financial effort into this? And it's like, well, you get to go to the national convention, you get to be the guy, you know, of the however many total delegates there are or whatever, but you get to be the one that gets to go up there and place the vote for. And like, it's a pretty big deal if you're like into that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, not into that kind of stuff, obviously, but at the same time, you spent any amount of money trying to convince me to...
I guess it looks good on a resume. Like, I was an official delegate for a presidential candidate.
Yeah. I mean, Mayor Jacobs
was voted as a delegate.
Right. Mayor Jacobs was one of them. There's a couple of them. I think Haslam was on for a delegate for somebody. I don't remember. Hornbeck was one. There's a handful of names that I recognize on the wannabe delegates list. But yes, anyway, traditionally at the RNC and the DNC, their actual national conventions is when all those people get into a room and then they go through the pomp and circumstance and they wear the straw hat things and all the different tables have the big signs of the states and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but that usually at that event is when the actual vote from the delegates takes place. And that's the traditional way to do it. And we didn't do it again, the DNC didn't do it that way in 2020 due to the pandemic. And their excuse to not do it now, at least, is that this Ohio situation requires them to get him officially on the as the official candidate before whatever date for Ohio, so that they don't have to worry about him not being on the Ohio ballot, which should be a big effing deal. If he wasn't on the Ohio ballot,
since you're bringing it up, it's been made a point.
The way it was described to me is that it was the take that the people that I listened to and that talked about it was that when the governor and the leader of the legislature of Ohio was like, we have a bill that we're doing that we're going to attach a correction to this so it's back to normal. That was just a weird little thing that happened, and so it's not going to be an issue. So you don't need to do that. Maybe that's a lie, and maybe they don't want to take the chance of that lie. I don't know, but You know, when Trump
maybe it's just all a big lie.
when Biden and Harris have both gone out and done campaigning and run into a number of protests, specifically over the Gaza situation, there is concern, especially with the Chicago mayor, whom is a fairly pro-Palestinian person, not putting the Chicago Police Department on a more crackdown version of protest management. That they don't want to see that situation, so this is a way for them to not have to put themselves in that situation. That's some of my people's take on it.
Yes, I did see a story. It was like a week or so ago, I guess, for the RNC, that there were complaints from the GOP that the Secret Service wasn't doing enough, I guess, in preparation for the RNC convention. Or, sorry, GOP convention. No, RNC convention.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is that Secret Service responsibility because the candidate is a former president, or is that just
part of it? Yeah,
they're trying to cheap out and let the Secret Service do total security.
I think it had to do with where. No, actually, yeah, sorry, it was where I guess the Secret Service, and I guess in conjunction with whoever does kind of like the main security for the city. I don't know where they're doing the RNC at. Louisville? No,
it's not Nashville. Know that.
Yeah, but no, I think it had to be where they were allowing the. We talked about it last week. The free speech zone, I guess it's called, basically like an approved protest area.
Right.
And I think that was the big pushback, is they thought that was going to be too close to where
man, that sucks.
Trump and others would be coming in.
Jeez, that sucks. They have to face the populace. That's terrible.
I think that was kind of like what the Secret Service says. Like, we have to be respectful of people's right. They have a right to be able to have their voice be heard, and not be 5 blocks away. Like, we're allowing them to protest. It's an area there.
No, you need to be in your special spot, far away from where anybody will actually hear you. That's the important thing.
Right.
I
think it was in the guise that it was a security thing as well. But the Secret Service is like, we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, apparently they were scoping out Rikers and stuff too. So
I didn't hear anything about that.
I'm sure. I'm like the max is 4 years, I think. And
he's not getting jail time. I haven't heard of any analyst that has even put a breath of thought into him.
Right. The one guy that
sentenced jail time.
The one guy that was on the show that I was to that was talking about it as their special legal analyst or whatever was like, there's no way he's getting 4. Realistically, 3 would be the most. I
think
see.
4 was the max for
3 months.
The one felony or whatever.
Yeah, he was 3 months to 6 months. It would be crazy, but possible. And he was you take this judge who's been, he put Trump was in contempt 6 times during the trial for violating the gag order on the trial.
I think it was 10 total counts or something like that.
And so it's it's possible that the judge says, hey, look, I had to put you in contempt so many times, you don't seem to listen. Here's 3 months or something like that.
He threatened him with jail time.
Yeah.
He was obviously it was $1,000 per infraction.
Right, the $1,000 don't make a difference, then we got to kick it up a notch.
Right.
I don't disagree with the premise of what he's getting after on that. But apparently his daughter, that was the one thing that that Jacobs was bitching about. His daughter is a big DNC fundraiser or some shit.
Yeah.
And the judge's daughter.
Right. And then the judge donated $15 to the Biden campaign in 2020.
I mean, whatever. That's
that makes him corrupt in the pocket of Joe.
The daughter
he gave Joe $15.
The daughter would be the more concerning one to me. But
why do you think his daughter would hold sway over how he presides?
I mean, I would say that a father-daughter relationship can get pretty complicated, and that would be more likely than the $15 he donated to be a problematic issue. I'm not implying that it is. Either way, I'm saying that's the one. That's the one that I kind of argument that's okay, I could see where you could make the argument that it's possible that she's a daddy's girl and he does whatever is I know with no stretch of a fact that my sister is my dad's favorite.
Okay,
it's not even a joke in our house.
All right.
And it's okay. I've come to terms with that issue, but I don't know the relationship. I don't know the actual functional relationship of those two, and I don't know.
So the judge is compromised because his daughter is a grown adult and gets to make her own choices and how she wants to lead her life.
I mean, it could be. I could see the argument being made that there could be a potential conflict of interest there. Yes. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really care. I don't know why I brought it up. I apologize.
I just had to go back down that road one more time.
I don't know. Anyway. Give me something else to talk about, or I'm going to go back to the Trump thing. I don't want to talk about Trump. Oh, yeah. We had the big topic. So, Apple Music released their top 100 albums. They didn't specify if it was like all time or...
I think it's supposed to be all time.
Yeah, they don't give their...
They didn't put a time limit on it.
Let's see if they give their... They don't give the rules. They don't give their parameters for it. And, I've got some complaints. I don't know. You want to start at the top or the bottom? 100, Body Talk by Robin. I don't know what that is.
I think I've heard of Robin, but...
and it's like, I understand that I'm out of the loop. I'm not super hip to the game. But I'm not completely oblivious either. And I feel like I should have heard of you.
I've heard of her. I don't think I've... Can't say I know a song.
Let's see. Go back.
Oh, it's got a parental advisory sticker on it.
That's how you sell records. I'm just saying, I guess the easy way to parameter this real quick would be you're looking at Body Talk by Robin at 100 and Hotel California by the Eagles at 99. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could go ask the kids real quick. We could take a pause and I could run outside and ask the kids. You guys know who the Eagles are or what Hotel California is? Or maybe the more correct way to do it would be play them a snippet of a song and see if they'd heard that song off of the Hotel California album, for example. And perhaps that would give me a reference to where they know it. And so, and one of the things that Apple does normally, and maybe they're changing it, but normally Apple has like a little star, and maybe that's what this thing over here is, saying that it's popular. It's got a bunch of downloads, that kind of thing. But the number one track off of Body Talk, who has a little dot on it according to Apple, is Dancing on My Own. Let's see if we know what it is. So we got to kind of semi-talk over it.
No.
Yeah, okay. I know that song. All right. I didn't know that was her, though, but... Over here. Yeah, I know that song. Okay. All right, I guess I have to resent that. All right, Call Your Girlfriend is another one.
With Snoop Dogg?
All right, Call Your Girlfriend. Sounds exactly like the other song. It's in a different key.
Yeah, Casio only has so many beats to it.
Like, this is the same fucking song.
All right, you can... Yeah.
Huh.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay. Again, all right, so far, at least, I don't know. I will listen to some of these albums just to prove myself wrong. But the Dance on My Own is a good song. I've heard that song. I've heard a bunch of covers of that song, at least.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't listen to it.
Or I think it's a cover, actually. Let's see if it...
don't have very many venues that I listen to any kind of, like,
regular
popular music.
It is something that I struggle with myself. Because I think this... this is the real version of that song. Dance on My Own by Colum Scott. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she was doing a cover?
Yeah.
Huh.
Here it is. Get this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm sorry, everybody. You don't want me singing, but I gotta. Yeah, like that is a very good song. Okay. And then she does a club cover of it and whatever. So again,
cool.
I agree with you. I'm on the same place. I don't have an avenue where I get a lot of new music. I do get some stuff on my Facebook feed and stuff like that where like that's become a genre in and of itself, is like TikTok songs. And it's not that it's like a video for the song. It's like it becomes a popular song that gets played behind. Right. Just everybody does a bunch of videos over it because it's not, they don't have copyright issues or something like that. Okay, so that's 100. Hotel California by the Eagles. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I feel like it's It should be higher than 99. Astro World by Travis Scott. It's a big fucking deal album. I'm not a fan of it, but it is a big fucking deal album. I get it. Rage Against the Machine self-titled album. That's a top 10 to me. That might be a top 5 to me personally.
Okay.
Like that was a for me personally, that was a life-changing album.
Never owned it. I know I listened to probably a plethora of songs off of it.
I mean,
knew people that had the album, but
yeah, to me that is like on my personal top 10 list is absolutely in the top 10. But it may be it like if I'm going to say influential and changing me and like molding my little youthy mind or whatever, it's way up there. Way up there. I love that album. It is a phenomenal album. And I thought they were racist, and they kind of are, but not in the way I thought they were when I started listening to them.
Never heard of number 94.
96 is Pure Heroin by Lord, which I don't know the total of the album, but there's a couple of really good songs on there that were very popular, and I get it. Confessions by Usher. Usher's no joke. Untrue by Burial.
Are we going through each one?
I don't know. What else are we doing?
Sure, we could find something else to talk to versus go through each
I
artist in this top
okay.
100. I mean, we'll do whatever you want to do, bro.
I was just going to run it down for a little bit. So that's a long album I've heard some good stuff about. Tyler, the Creator, is no joke. George Michael. Black and Back by AC/DC. Realistically, to me, that's a top 10 album all the time. Not on my personal list, on the real world list. Like, there are so many songs on that album that every single fucking person on the planet knows. Shook me all night long. I don't know if that's an actual name of the song. Now that I said it, yo,
all right.
Shook me all. Like everybody knows that fucking song. Lady Gaga. I don't know who Nina Simone is. I do know the song that they're referencing. Massive Attack. Mary J. Blige. No joke. Casey Musgraves. I have no fucking clue. Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style is 84. Come on now. I'm not a hip hop fan, but come on. Patti Smith. No joke. 50 Cent. Good deal. Neil Young. All right. Marshall Mathers LP. I'm not a big hip-hop fan, like I just said, but that's a top 10 or 15 album, I think. Like, that was another world... Like, to me, that was a world-changing album. Not for me personally, but for the world as we knew it. Okay. Like, that was an album that sticks out. Lana Del Rey. I don't know, whatever. Elton John, Madonna, Bad Bunny. Do you know anything by Bad Bunny?
He's a Latin artist, I think.
I mean, the album is in Spanish, so the album title is Un Verano Sin Ti.
Oh, I think it was somebody like dressed up as for Halloween. I was like, "Who are you?" Mm-hmm. Or like Bad Bunny. I'm like, "Who is that?" It's like, "Oh, he's a famous musician." I'm like, "I don't know. Yeah, I don't know music, man. Sorry." All
right, skipping ahead, you got NWA at 70 with Straight Outta Compton. I think that's a bigger deal than that. Metallica's Master of Puppets. I'm not sure. It's a great album. I think it should be on the list. I think that might be the right number.
Tell Me About Portishead's a great album.
Do it, yeah.
De La Soul. Yeah.
That's really like they have like that one song, two songs. I don't remember De La Soul that well. Erykah Badu's got 64. Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? I'm not a huge Hendrix fan, but I think that should be higher than that. Tupac's All Eyes on Me.
Sade.
Love Deluxe by Sade. Velvet Underground. Arctic Monkeys. Oasis. What's the Story? That was a great album. I like that album a lot.
Good album. I don't know about.
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know if it's a top 60. I don't know that that's a better album. That's not a better album than Are You Experienced? Come on now.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. D'Angelo's Voodoo. The Cure's Disintegration. I think that should be higher on the list. I'm not a Cure fan anyway, but Rihanna's Anti. John Coltrane's A Love Supreme. Okay. Middle on the road. Rolling Stones, Exit on Main. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Prince's Sign of the Times. If Prince is on the list, he should be in the top 20. I don't think there's another Prince album on here, if I recall correctly. Kate Bush, Hounds of Love, which that's only super popular because of fucking that Netflix show in the current era. Like, she was completely obscure, and then there's that one song that was really popular because it was on what's that Netflix show about the darkness or whatever? I don't know. It was a very popular Netflix show.
Oh, Black Mirror?
No, Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I think U2's Joshua Tree. I hate U2. I think it's probably higher than 49. Like, I hate U2.
Yeah. I like some of their songs.
There's a couple here and there. Paul's Boutique by Beastie Boys. Take Care of Drake. Bob Marley and the Wailers' Exodus. I think that should be in the top 10, period. Bjork.
Homogenic. Good album.
It's a really good album. I think that's a fairly fair spot for that one, personally. Stevie Wonder should always be higher than most things. Talking Heads, Remain in the Light, killer album. Janet's Control, joke. Outkast, Aquium. The Aretha Franklin, it's good stuff. Nas, okay. Carole King, okay. Wu-Tang Clan. Beyonce's self-titled, the London Calling by The Clash. Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions. Kid A from Radiohead's 33. Ready to Die by... I don't know. Maybe this is I think Jagged Little Pill is a great album. I really do. I think it should be higher than that.
I guess I never listened to it. I didn't appreciate it as much at the time.
I've always had a thing. I'm not a big fan of girl singers. It's just the way I am. I do like a lot of them. Tribe Called Quest is no joke. I get it. Dark Side's 28.
This should be way higher.
That's what I think too. Zeppelin 2. I hate Zeppelin. It's another band that I get in a lot of arguments about. I hate Zeppelin, but that should be higher than 27.
Maybe 4. I liked 4 more than 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
I couldn't tell you what's on 2, but I know 4 is.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye. That's a pretty genius album. I didn't like it, but I've heard a lot of people that are like, that's fucking crazy good. David Bowie's Rise and Fall of Ziggy. I've skipped Miles Davis. I'm sorry. Daft Punk's Discovery. Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. The Beatles' Revolver. I think that's the only Beatles album on here.
Can't be.
We'll see. Sgt. Pepper should be top 5.
I'd take White Album over.
Sgt. Pepper's.
Sgt. Pepper's is great.
Shit. Pet Sounds by Beach Boys. That's a top 15, top 10. But we're at 20, so it's close. Yeah. The Chronic by Dre. No joke. That's a great fucking album. Taylor Swift. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. It's a great album. Don't get me wrong. Joni Mitchell's Blue. Adele's 21. I don't think the three of them are in the top 50. I think they're great, but not top 50 great.
Yeah.
Dylan's Highway to 61. Jay-Z's Blueprint. OK Computer is 12. Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, I think that's 11's okay, I guess. Beyonce's Lemonade. Nirvana's Nevermind. Amy Winehouse. Kendrick Lamar. Stevie Wonder. Okay, that's the Stevie Wonder I wanted. Frank Ocean's Blonde. It's number 5. Oh, there you go. Purple Rain is number 4. All right. I can go. Abbey Road is number 3. Thriller is number 2, and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is number 1.
That was number 1. Okay.
So the Bad album wasn't on there. Michael Jackson's Dangerous wasn't on there. Sgt. Pepper's isn't on there. Your White album wasn't on there. I'm sorry. I have problems with this list. And they're right. They're rights to their opinion. I'm not saying they're wrong per se. I'm just saying if I was going to make a top 100, it would not be this.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I didn't like. I'm not a big Bowie fan. I like Bowie's weird modern albums where he's all techno-y and whatnot. But I digress. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a. I want to know the rules on it. I guess I think I agree with you when we were starting to preface this. It's like I want to know what their parameters were. So is this like
what was Kid A?
Kid A was like 33.
Okay.
I mean, OK Computer. And again, I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. But OK Computer to me, personally to me, it was a generational personally to me, it was a personal change. It changed the way I look at music kind of album.
Yeah.
But on the cultural landscape at large, especially with where we were coming out of the grunge era and stuff like that, on the landscape of music,
it influenced a lot of people.
Right. Forget me and my personal take on it, like just the real brass tacks of it. Like Coldplay doesn't exist.
It influenced a lot of artists.
Right. Coldplay, who's huge, bigger than Radiohead, probably doesn't exist without Radiohead. Without that album,
bigger.
Okay. Oh, Beatles Revolver was on here too. I skimmed over that.
That was what we first started talking about.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, we started talking about it on
Revolver.
Was it Revolver?
Yep.
I'm confused.
That was the first one we saw.
Anyway, I think this list is bullshit, but it's fun to talk about.
But Apple. Fuck.
I just think. I mean, I don't know. Like again, if they had a rule set, like if it's like most downloaded songs. And albums that have more than one song that are most downloaded and they're ranked by most downloaded, okay. Like if that's their rule, like if it's
even that.
You know, because I mean, you're gonna have like, you know, because I mean, I think if that was the case, it would be fucking
Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas,"
right?
Would be,
but it would have. But I'm saying, but the rule would have to be they have 2 songs that make it above a certain criteria.
Yeah, right.
But if that's the case, like 1989 by Taylor Swift would be higher than 18.
Probably.
You know, and I mean, Thriller is a great album. Don't get me wrong, Thriller's a killer album. But like the Bad album's got probably, no, Thriller's probably got more hits on it. That's fair. Like Thriller as a whole has got more of the best
mirror,
of. Let's look it up. Like probably the worst I felt as a fan of music in my life was how excited I got when Prince's catalog came onto Apple, because he didn't want it on there, and so it didn't get on there until after he died. I felt really bad about that when I was like they announced it, and I was like, yeah, oh man, that sucks.
Finally, I mean, oh man. So just 3 songs on there?
No, Thriller's got "Won't Be Starting Something," "The Girl Is Mine" with Paul McCartney, Thriller, "Beat It," Billie Jean, "Human Nature," "Pretty Young Thing," and "The Lady in My Life." So like, It's a 9-track album, and 7 of them are bangers, like super bangers. Got to be starting something. Want to be starting something. Got to be starting something. To how to get over. Yeah, yeah. To low to get under. Yeah, yeah. Stuck in the middle. I'm going to keep singing unless you start talking about something else.
Try to think about many of the other ones.
Baby Be Mine's not a big one. The Girl Is Mine's great.
I know that, yeah.
Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean. Human Nature. So it is, when I call the missus, that's her ringtone for me. Da 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 da. Why?
Oh, okay.
Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Do they do me that way? And she says, why? Tell them that PYT's.
That was one of the songs I just never knew the words to.
Yeah. PYT, pretty young thing. I want to love you. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this.
Okay.
They got animated album covers now. Look at you go, Apple Music.
Crazy.
Somebody got paid to do that.
Like, okay, let's have a thing go like this and then like that. Like, all right.
Actually, maybe not.
Like $10,000.
It might be an AI thing.
That's very true.
Now that I say it. Anyway, that's a fun rabbit hole down music stuff. All right. You didn't want to go track album by album. What do you got?
I just thought it would have been a little excessive.
Yeah, if we were really
talking about each artist.
It could have been a fun project if we actually prepped it really well and had our pros and cons and done a little research on the albums. That does remind me. I don't know why this post that happens to be up here is not the one I was thinking about, but somebody did make a reference to Jesus was convicted in a sham trial. I still follow him.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, that might have been on the Marsha's page, actually.
He gets us.
Let's go see what Marsha's doing.
Yeah, I saw it was one of the local news had put her statement that she had put out.
Yeah.
And there was a statement from Haggerty, Carringer.
I agree they exist. I'm not trying to say they don't exist, but I don't fucking care what they have.
I mean, that was just the article. It was, local politicians weighing in on.
Did anybody said I don't fucking care? Know how to get over. Yeah. Just stuck in the middle. Let's see what she's talking about here.
Abide by the rule of law. There should be equal treatment under the law. And we don't weaponize the government against our political opponents. But the people will have their say. The people's verdict will come in on November 5th. And it is imperative right now for people who are really angry and upset about this to use this as their call to action. They need to go to donaldjtrump.com. They need to contribute. They need to sign up to help. They need to make certain that their neighbors and friends are all registered to vote.
Okay,
and then
so that brings up a thing I can actually talk about. We can actually talk about it. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to sign up or whatever. Okay, so you disagree with me and where we started in the episode and stuff like that as far as I do think this is a fucking bullshit kangaroo court, whatever. But I'm certainly not going to take her advice because I'm upset about what's going on right now and go to his website and donate or sign up to volunteer or anything like that. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, I think this is a bullshit case. I do. That's beside the point. Like, I think this is a symptom of the greater disease that we are living in the politics of the United States at large.
Gotcha.
Again, going back to my Jamie conversation yesterday, the thing I told him was like, in an attempt to put a positive spin on this, if this is the beginning of politicians being afraid and starting to be afraid that they might get convicted of crimes because they commit crimes all the fucking time, then I'm on board. I like it. But does anybody think that's where we're going right now? I don't think I think in a punitive bullshitty way, yes, that's where we're going. I think Trump, if he wins this election, he's going to go after the Biden personally and anybody associated with Biden for any criminal bullshit that he can throw at the fucking wall. And, I guess at some level, if there's actually a case there, if there's some there to what he's alleging, then have at it. I want to see it. But it's not going to be anything more than some, revenge cases from Trump because he got fucking bullied by Biden, so I'm going to fight back. It's not going to be that way. It's
only going to be a tyrant on the first day. Don't worry.
If the reality of what's going to happen is this just turns into a continuous left right. If we have a Democrat, then the Republicans are afraid of XYZ. If we have a Republican, the Democrats are afraid of XYZ because we're going to do whatever. It's like that's not the goal I want to see. I would like to see the law, leveled out equally across the board. I would like to see anybody who has committed said crime, whatever the said crime is, to get punished accordingly.
It'll be easily overturned on appeal if it's that egregious and that obvious.
Okay, fine. If this one is that egregious and obvious, that's not what I'm saying though. Like, my point is that if this is the beginning of the real, like, where they are citizens first and powerful politicians second, and they get treated like me and you would get treated in a similar situation, then okay, I'm on board. But I can't imagine for a second that that's the reality of what's going to happen here.
Gonna lock her up.
I mean, yeah, I do think. I think if I clearly violated my obligation to security the way she did, I would be in jail.
I mean, after the election, there was a good number of people close to Trump that said, "Oh, he's going to come back to power. This is all just like a big game. Like, it's all gonna, everything's going to be overturned. Trump will be back in power in like August. And there's going to be war tribunals, and there were calls for people that, or I think it was one of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs or whatever. They were calling for his execution for treason."
Biden or Trump?
And people in Trump's camp. I think it was, it might have been Michael Flynn.
Was calling for Biden's execution for treason.
No, it was someone of the high-ranking, like either Joint Chiefs of Staff or like some high-ranking military official.
Was calling for the execution of who? Who were they saying?
They were calling for the execution of a high-ranking military official that I think was like one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff or...
And the Joint Chiefs of Staff under?
Biden.
Okay, I was trying to figure out who you were referencing.
Sorry.
That was very confusing.
I didn't want
to
say names because I can't remember exactly who it was. I want to say maybe it might have been like Michael Flynn, but it was people close to the Trump camp after he'd already lost the election. There was a whole big like, oh, this is all just going to go away. They're going to figure out this was all rigged, and Trump will be president again in August. Or I love the like, oh, he's still really president. It's all just fake. He's still really president.
Okay, they're idiots. How does that apply to my previous statement?
I was going to this whole like retributive thing that I don't know. I think it's hilarious that the GOP is like, oh, they're doing this in retribution. It's like, I think it was a bit more extreme not very long ago when you were calling for war tribunals.
I agree with that. Yes, I don't like that either. I want equality under law is supposed to be like a basic fundamental U.S. like we're Americans, for fuck's sake.
Right.
I commit a crime, you commit a crime, we get we get prosecuted for it. It doesn't matter my political leanings or your political leanings or the political leanings of the judge or the judge's fucking daughter, for that matter. That's not supposed to matter. The end of the day is that this is a crime. We all agree that this is a crime. You should go to jail for this crime. This is the kind of jail you get. But that doesn't seem to be the way it works, and I think that's the point. I think that's why Trump won in the first place. Not that he ever had any real inkling of doing it. I will argue to death that Trump was a fuck you to the political system at large. And this time around, I don't know what the fuck he is. It's not the same.
Honestly, he would have never gotten elected had he not been on The fucking Apprentice.
Sure.
Bar none.
Sure.
Bar none.
That doesn't change my statement whatsoever. Trump doesn't exist as any sort of political anything. Or Trump doesn't get doesn't win any parts or pieces or any of the primary stuff, and he doesn't beat Hillary Clinton, except for people are done. People are done with this.
I just don't understand how many people are still going to believe this will be the third election in a row that it's going to be rigged. 16 was rigged. 20 was rigged.
Who said 16 was rigged?
He did.
Oh.
Leading up to the election, said it was already said, because that's when most pundits were pretty much already calling it for Hillary.
Right. Okay. Hillary said it was rigged too.
I guess it's rigged. It's like, you won. So what is it? Was it rigged? Okay, because you won. Now let's do a recount because you said it was rigged.
I mean, I'm sure. Let's do it. I like it. I don't know how to. I'm failing to articulate my displeasure here. This isn't about.
You started out by saying that
if this was
a crime, blah blah.
Right. If this is a crime, then he is going to and he should be and is worthy of prosecution, and he's been found guilty of it, then he should do the time or whatever it is that's required of the punishment of the crime. And then anybody else who I would argue without any evidence, but I would argue that this happens thousands of times annually in this country with politicians and rich people alike. Just general rich people, non-political rich people do the same shit all day, every day. And I've never heard of this case before. I've never heard of this crime specifically.
You are true. Yes, a lot of those things don't reach the light of day. They're
well, then I challenge you and
pushed
all
under
of
the rug
listeners.
with a non-disclosure agreement and
right, because they paid their hush money, and even if they paid it with some fraudulent business practice, it never comes to light. Doesn't mean the fraud wasn't there.
True. I don't think some of this would have came to light, I guess, had Cohen not gotten busted for all of his tax shit.
He should get his money back for his hush money because he didn't get what he paid for.
Huh? Who?
He should sue her to get his money back if he paid her this hush money. I mean, I think his case, his argument was that it never happened in the first place, which was a terrible legal strategy on his side.
Right.
Like, their case was...
Well, I mean... No, I think it would have been a worse thing to admit it.
I mean,
you stick to your story.
Maybe
Just saying, hey, that never happened.
Well, I mean, I think it's
still their word against mine. I'm saying that the encounter never happened.
I mean, the problem is his legal strategy was politically dependent. Like, the legal strategy was to hold the line on the politics side of things, not necessarily, because apparently one of his lawyers left the case right as it was starting because he was like, this strategy's a loser and I'm not going to be a part of it.
I think I remember hearing about that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's because Trump said, no, we were running this case as this never happened. This is all a lie, instead of acknowledging that this did happen, but the hush money thing and the affair happened. But this, fraudulent business, whatever thing, I had nothing to do with. That wasn't me. I said, pay the lady the money so she won't fucking tell anybody because I don't want my wife to hear about it. And whomever paid the money and accounted it in the wrong spot. That was the legally viable way to get him out of this. And that was the argument that lawyer was making. And he was like, no, for politics, it's not a quote from Trump, but the inference is that Trump didn't want to, for political sake, he didn't want to admit it publicly. Even though everybody and their fucking brother, I don't think anybody, even Trump supporters, believe that he didn't actually have said affair.
I don't think he did in front of the jury, but I did read that the judge called Trump out for, I guess, on more than one occasion, during press conferences between breaks or whatever. And he kept saying, he's like, I can't defend myself. I'm under a gag order. So in open court, with court reporters, notating everything, it was like, you're not barred from testifying. Gag order has nothing to do with that. The gag order is what you say outside.
Right, because his perspective is I have to defend myself to the public, not to these 12 jurors. It's not about these 12 jurors. It's about the public at large to him.
Say what now?
I mean, it's not legally correct, but his argument, his statement is I'm trying to defend myself to the country, not to these 12 jurors. That's the implication in what he was saying. He's wrong legally.
No, he was saying that he started saying he could not testify. Basically, it was trying to allude that he was precluded, unable to testify because he was under a gag order.
Okay.
So he couldn't take the stand in his own defense. So the judge, and sorry, not in open court. I'm pretty sure he did it with the jury not present. It was just like, you're more than welcome to testify. It is your right to testify.
Huh. Okay.
Now he's come out and he's like, oh well, he wanted to, but his lawyers, didn't think it was advisable.
Advised him against it.
Which I'm sure any good lawyer probably would, because then it opens you up to cross-examination.
But at the end of the day, it's his decision. Like the lawyers can tell him
right.
That
was like the next thing that I read in like any story that mentioned it. But his lawyers are doing the lawyering in the case, but ultimately, yes, it is still his decision. If you wanted to testify, you tell your lawyer, "Hey, you are my lawyer. I want to testify."
Right, and they're obliged by their oath of whatever the fuck it is they take to be a lawyer to do what
defend
you
or represent.
Right, as to represent on your behalf, and on your behalf has to include your wants. Right. Anyway, back to my original question because I still don't know the answer to this. So, I acknowledge that you don't necessarily agree with me that this is a bullshit. This is bullshit. This case is fucking bullshit. That's my take on it.
Okay.
You disagree. That's fine. I hate it. I fucking hate it, and I want to do something about it. Not that I want him to be exonerated or anything like that, but I would like to get into a world where if this is true and if this is a crime, then he should be convicted of said crime and he should do his time and blah, 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 blah. But so should everybody else that's doing it too. And how do we get to a place where we get back to an equal, it's by the people, right? That's the generic phrase for by, of, right? Of the people. This is Donald Trump is an American citizen just like me and you.
Right.
And if you and I did the same thing, and if it is a crime, then we should be convicted of said crime and do the whatever proper punishment that's the law says.
Yes.
I don't see that happening. I don't see that. That's the thing that I'm upset about.
What are you not seeing happening?
I don't see the mountain.
He didn't get a fair trial?
I don't see the mountain of criminality that is going on, not with Trump personally, but with a lot of politicians at large. I don't see the amount of criminality that they are committing on a regular basis getting treated the way this is getting treated. And that's the problem I have with it. It's not that I give a shit about Trump or not. It's that this isn't...
There's at least 2 senators on trial right now.
Okay, that's it?
That I know of.
Okay. I mean, maybe...
I see random stories. Some of them are like state-level officials that are being charged with this and that.
I guess maybe that's the fallacy that I operate under is I assume they're all... I assume they're all criminals in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Who's not corrupt?
Everybody. You're going to be corrupt. It's inevitable.
What was my question? Who is not corrupt?
I don't know anybody that isn't.
Okay, gotcha.
But if you're going to go, if you're going to seek out this thing and going to represent me, then you are obliged to deal with the consequences of said efforts.
Do what?
If you want to be the public face of a community, then you're obliged to deal with the consequences of that, and the consequences of that are the microscope that is your life. And then if you were corrupt in it, then you should be punished for being corrupt in it.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that was normal, then maybe the corruption that I see on the regular basis wouldn't be there. Like this. Okay. Who's it? Simone Sanders is one example I'm thinking of off the top of my head. She's a top Biden aide during the campaign. Worked for Kamala for a little bit once they took the White House, and then left politics and went to MSNBC for a gajillion dollars, and now spends most of her time on NBC talking about how much Biden and Kamala are awesome.
Not familiar with her. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Who was Biden's first?
Why are you bringing up this person?
It's a form of corruption, in my opinion. You only got the job because you worked at the White House. You have no skills as a pundit.
Corruption?
Yeah.
On whose part? Who's corrupt?
if
MSNBC for hiring someone that had an inside scoop of what had been going on in the administration?
MSNBC on some level, if that's their intent, if their intent is to promote a political leaning one way or the other, and they're hiring people on the intent of doing so, yeah.
Okay. I think almost every single major news network has hired someone involved in most administrations or that were aides to somebody important. Because a lot of times you get connections with those as well. Sometimes that one reporter is able to get in contact with so-and-so. And I don't see this. It's common practice. I don't see how you view it as corruption.
Okay.
A news organization.
Who was in the story? There was a story this week. That's a current city. What is her name? It's gonna drive me nuts. She was signing bombs. She was literally writing her name on bombs that were getting shipped over to Israel.
I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah. Said finish them all, finish something. It's one of the GOP candidates. Who was the lady?
Who's the lady? One of the candidates.
The presidential. In the presidential primary. Who's the lady? Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley.
Where was she? What was she was a senator prior?
Governor. She was governor of South Carolina.
That's right.
I don't know if that was most recently.
Right. After her governorship, that's right. After her governorship in South Carolina, she went to be
ambassador.
She was on
UN.
and she was on the board of Boeing, and then she ran for president, and then she's signing Boeing bombs that are going over to Israel.
Okay. I hadn't heard about her being on the board of Boeing.
Yeah, she has some. I don't remember exactly what her direct connection is, but she has a direct connection with Boeing outside of Boeing having a major influence in the state of South Carolina because they have their corporate headquarters.
No, I think
they have a major factory in
Seattle.
Right, Seattle's their corporate headquarters in Seattle, but they have a big, 35-40% of their manufacturing goes on in South Carolina or something like that.
Okay.
It's I can't remember what they called it. It's the revolving door. I don't know why that's a random. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go that direction. I think they're all criminals. I really do. I think they're all corrupt beyond recognition. Like I think we can say local. I think Marsh is a fucking shitbag. The top line policy issues that people in Tennessee care about, she doesn't represent 5% of.
Yeah, she toes the party line and spits the rhetoric.
Cool, but she represents me. So when she runs her fucking mouth, she's talking about me and you. When my people and the people that I represent care about this, that, and the other, she's referencing us. And every time she says that phrase, at least to my recollection, I disagree. Now, obviously,
she says she means the people that agree with her.
Oh, but she says whatever, fucking semantics.
She's not. She's not saying like we Tennesseans. She's on fucking Newsmax. When she means us, she doesn't mean everybody in the state.
Maybe, or she means. But when she says the people I represent or the people that I speak for, she says all sorts of different versions of the phrase "us." And some of those
everything of her talking points that I didn't see any kind of collectivism.
Okay, then fine. Then that's its own bullshit.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so that to me is a problem, and how do we fix that? That's
politicians politicking. She wants to get more support. She's not trying to curry favor across the aisle.
But
she's trying to curry.
Then how does she win elections? Because the issues that matter most to most people, statistically, or at least like what's the word I'm looking for?
We're a pretty conservative state.
We are a fairly conservative state, sure.
Yeah, I think that lends to the possibility of her being elected a little bit higher. But I don't know if she had any challengers in the previous, as far as in the GOP. I don't know if she had anybody to run against her as incumbent.
I'm sure she did on her original run.
Maybe. Is it 4-year terms?
Senate 6.
6, gotcha.
Which Haggerty, no, she's on this year. Haggerty's next cycle. Which I think you're going to see Governor Lee on. I think Governor Lee is going to run for Haggerty's seat.
Think so?
Maybe. Depends on how Haggerty's on it. I don't know. You never hear Haggerty.
Sure.
You don't hear shit out of him.
that a good thing or bad thing?
I don't
It's
know.
a little bit better than...
I mean, I don't know. Depending on what he's doing, as opposed to her who runs her mouth and I hate everything she says,
Right.
I like not hearing from him if he was going to say the same thing she was saying. But inversely, if he's just behind the scenes doing everything that I hate, then I'm not sure which one's worse.
Right.
I mean, she certainly, like, to me, she certainly is playing politics for a future in politics. Like, she wants to stay forever. Because the only way you stay forever and really, really solidify your long-term power structure thing is you are a name that people know, not from your state.
Trying to remember if it actually passed or if it's still in the works, but I think they were working on some kind of bipartisan bill. I think it has to do with just the president, but it's like president and family members. As far as it's probably just you have to report if you have any financial incentives kind of outside the U.S. Or if you or any of your family members, would profit off of.
Right. Start over?
I think there's a bipartisan bill that's either in the works. I don't know if it's been passed or anything. I think there's at least some kind of bipartisan effort to at least constrain the executive office and family members to try to limit some of the interminglings.
Yeah, I mean, he's active on his Facebook page, at least. He puts a post or two a day.
Yeah.
This is him at a conference of some sort, talking about the case.
No. The weaponization of the legal system.
Get a result like this from a kangaroo court, and that's exactly what's been constructed.
Right. He's the same fucking mouthpiece.
Prosecutorial misconduct, the judicial misconduct, 53 pages of jury instructions to carefully guide the jury to a point where they have no choice but to convict. And I think the American public can see this for what it is. This is lawfare, a new term that's been coined here in the United States. It's a new political strategy. You can try to damage
lawfare.
your opponent so that you
I've
don't
heard
have
it.
to meet
I
your
haven't heard
opponent
that
at the
one.
ballot box. You can defeat them in a courtroom in a jurisdiction that you choose. You see the involvement of the Biden administration. They send a top DOJ official into the courtroom to actually make the opening arguments. Yesterday, they had a political event in front of the courthouse. All the while, the Biden administration tries to say this isn't political, yet they have their own event wheeling out a celebrity to try to make.
Yeah,
a
that was
big
crazy.
point
That
about
was
it.
Robert De Niro.
Yes.
And I think the American public see right through it. They can see this is nothing but a sham. These charges are made up. I certainly don't have any chance on appeal. But the objective has been, and I think it always has been, to keep Donald Trump off the campaign trail, to distract the public. And
See, that's the
what we
question to
have
me.
right
Like,
now
that's
is
the reality to me. It's like, that does, like, as a strategy, politically, it doesn't make any sense. He doesn't need to be on the campaign trail.
Who?
Either one of these candidates. There is no campaign trail for these two. Like, there's no nobody's changing their mind on how they feel about one or the other.
Probably not, no.
You know,
I
like-
think there's still some in the middle that could
The
be,
wild card
could be
to-
swayed, but
Right. The wild card to me is the independents or the centrists of either party, or the extreme right or left that says they're not far enough, whatever. But that they'll not, the extreme left or right's not going to vote because they can't bring themselves to vote for Biden, or they can't bring themselves to vote for Trump because Trump isn't hardcore enough for them. That's its own little margin on the extremes. The center is what matters, and the only real argument that's campaigning to the center is going to be right now. It's like you vote for me, and both parties candidates are doing it. It's a vote for anyone but me is a vote for the other guy, and I'm going to tell you how bad the other guy is.
right.
And so all the campaigning they're doing is trying to say, don't vote for RFK Jr. Don't vote for this idiot that the libertarians put up. Don't vote for Jill Stein. Don't vote for, what is his name? I don't even know if that campaign's still rolling.
Cornel West.
Cornel West. Don't vote for those people. Vote for me, because if you vote for those people, you're voting for the other one that you hate. It's an acknowledgement that we both suck.
I've heard, I don't follow a lot of campaign stuff, but I haven't heard too much talk of other candidates. It's pretty much they just talk themselves up and then talk about the other major party.
Right. Right. But when they talk about the other, it's that a vote not for me is a vote for them. It's that same. That's like that. It's the demonizing of the third party vote, which I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm not happy with the Libertarian Party candidate. I'm probably going to vote for RFK Jr. just as a full protest vote. I don't like him either. I really don't. But if I'm going to vote for a loser, I'm going to vote for a loser that has the potential to make the most impact. And RFK is the only one that has the potential to make a real impact.
Is he just running under the independent? Okay.
Yeah, I believe he's on enough states to win. He's functionally there. Like he should be in the debates and all that stuff. I don't.
Yeah, I saw he was suing CNN.
Yeah, I don't like him.
I thought one of the latest I read that he was only officially on 9 states, but there was a number of states that don't hold whatever voting
until whatever
like August or something.
Yeah.
Which I think the CNN one, I think that's the one that's in like July or something.
Right, and that's kind of one of the arguments of the play is it's like, that's one of the conspiracies, I guess, is that's part of the reason why the Democrats and the Republicans agreed to this non-traditional debate format so that they could make sure that there's no way that RFK can get on the stage.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, he sucks too. Like he's fucking terrible too. He's a full Israel supporter. He wants to keep the war going over there, and I don't fucking like that. Like again, I've said this a couple times in the show already. Like to me, what should be if the world was perfect and followed the Constitution the way I understand it to be, and blah 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 blah. Foreign policy is the number one issue of the President of the United States, and I want a president that doesn't want to be involved in foreign conflict. And or at least would be willing to wield the power that he can to minimize it, which I don't feel like. I know Trump and Biden aren't on the Israel-Gaza one. At least this is a very one-sided conversation, and sadly RFK is on the same side of that too. If RFK was running and part of his campaign was, I'm not going to ship a single fucking bullet to Israel to kill Gazans, he might actually have a chance to win, I think. Because I think there's enough people from both parties that hate what's going on over there that they would vote for that. What are you looking at?
None yet.
All right.
No, I was just trying to prep a news of the weird just in case.
Oh.
Just I had something pulled up. Usually they're like, all right, I'm like, I'm waiting for my phone to load.
That's the game. That's what we like to play.
Did you see Manchin Twitch parties? I think officially changed to an independent.
Good.
Joe Manchin.
I don't understand Joe. Whatever. Like good. I mean, I think I want more. Like I don't understand it. Like I just don't get it. Like I don't get why this
Bernie's like, fuck followers. I've been independent for years.
And I mean, and good on Bernie. I hate Bernie's politics, but I like Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Like I really do.
That's what they pointed out. Like he's been the same like person for years,
right? Because I believe him. I mean, he's kind of a dick because he kind of fucking folds when he's told to on certain issues. When he gets to the Senate, certain votes, he'll bend down to whatever the fucking Democrats tell him to vote for. That don't follow his policy. Like that don't follow stuff like him. Like he voted for. I believe he voted for. He voted on the Israeli package. He voted for sending arms to Israel, which he's been very vocally against. He refused to put the Medicare for All vote on the floor, which was an option. He could have played that game. This was back in 21, I think.
He refused to put it on the floor?
He refused to force no. Yeah, he refused to force. Fuck, who? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm conflating him and.
So I'd say like he ran on that something that he wanted. I don't know why he would not at least put that on the floor. I mean, to be able to say, "Hey, I'm trying to put this on the floor." Nobody took it up as a bill. Or whatever.
All right. So would you acknowledge that in the 2016 campaign that the DNC conspired to keep him from winning that race?
I don't remember the facts, to be honest with you.
Okay, I would argue that he did. They did whatever. But the fact that he ran the way he ran and then lost to Hillary Clinton and then supported Hillary Clinton, the premise in these debates where, when it's all said and done, will you support the candidate that wins? I hate that premise. That's so stupid. Like it's dumb.
Why?
Because if there is something like if you and I were running against each other for District 4, I don't think you're eligible for District 4, but whatever. If we were running for District 4 County Commission. And we were on the same side of the ticket. We were primarying against it. And we were having a debate. And the debate moderator says, well, if you lose the primary, will you support the candidate that's on your side of the ticket? No. Because I wouldn't have been running against you if I didn't have a philosophical issue with the way you wanted to run things. Why would I say yes to that?
So people only run against each other if they disagree?
I mean, it's not 100%. No, you're right. There's possibility that you and I are close enough on most things. I think I would do it better, and I would do certain ways, and you would do it better, and you would do certain ways. But if there's a philosophical, like core issue to me that we are different on, then fuck no. There's no way I'd vote for you.
Okay.
That makes no sense.
Was there a big division between Sanders and Clinton at the time?
I think the Medicare for All was one of them. I think for the two of them for sure.
All right.
And that was like what Bernie was running on. It's like, I think Medicare for All is cancer. It's the way we're supposed to do things. It's the way we need to deal with this.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't think that's the way we deal with this. Why would you support that if they don't? If it's something fundamental to your stance, that.
But that's a major, like. You think that would be a major political sticking point that would cause them to have a lot of animosity towards each other?
I mean, if that's your number one,
support us.
If that's your number one campaign issue, and why you decided to take a shot at that seat, sure.
Oh. Sorry, I wanted to bring up the Orange Man, but I'd rather not.
I was thinking that too. I was going down that.
His main thing was draining the swamp.
Right. So why would he support the candidate that won past him? And why would that be a knock on him for saying no? Not that he was willing to actually follow through with what he said he was, but.
I mean, I hate to just kind of like dismiss, campaign aspirations, but I think most people realize that most things that politicians run on aren't going to get a lot of those accomplished. They're things that they would like to happen,
but
even though they may promise, like, "Hey, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done."
I mean, I guess to me, it's just it's an acknowledgement that it's party over policy. That's what that is to me. Is that we could?
Yeah, I mean, I would say at the end of the day, we weren't quite as polarized back then as we are now, but there was definitely some polarization. I don't think it was as vitriolic.
Certainly not. I agree with that.
But it's pretty common that once they drop out, it's like, I'm still this side of the aisle or whatever, so I'm still going to support, my fellow.
Right. Again, but that's acknowledgement I don't know. To me, that's acknowledgement that we are
should they campaign against them? Support the
because
an opposing candidate?
Right, because it's good or evil, it's A or B, it's black or white. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, I'm asking you, what should they do? Just remain silent?
I mean, that would
be like, I lost. I'm just going to go back to doing my thing. I don't care about the race.
I think
anymore.
that would be the most respectful version of it. Yes, it's just like, I'm going to shut up about it. To actively campaign against them or to go and campaign for their opponent, but to support and tell your supporters to support them. No, like, look, I'm asking for you to vote for me because I'm going to change this thing, and my opponent on the primary is the opposite of this thing. This is an issue. The reason I'm running is this thing. And the guy that's running against me in the primary, not the general, but the primary, is against the thing that I'm asking you to vote for me for. When he beats me in the primary, I'm not going to support that guy. It makes no sense.
You're kind of framing it in a very already divisive intra-party conflict that was going on during the primaries. Or I've got candidate A and candidate B on the same ticket, and I've got this one thing, and they've got this one policy, but the other party has a policy that's totally against that. I could see maybe in that situation that, yes, maybe you may not support someone that if that was the key tenet and they were just so abhorrently against it. Yeah. Okay. I would agree with you. That maybe would be weird for someone.
Sure.
I said, I think you're kind of framing it in a very already contentious situation.
Right.
And well, how could they get along when they were fighting like cats and dogs?
Yeah, you're right. I get what you're saying. Maybe a better way to put it would be that at the end of the day, if all that matters is if we beat the other team, if that's the mindset on how you're going about it, that doesn't do anything for the people that you're supposed to be supporting. If that's all it is if it's I'm going to do everything I can for my personal aims, but if I come short, as long as that other team doesn't win, we're better off.
I would think that yes, in their mind of a party affiliate, that they would think that someone in that same party would do better for their district or whatever versus the other party.
I mean, yes, on a functional level, sure.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that.
You still don't understand why they would support a fellow.
I don't understand why it would be why they even asked the question, and if asking the question implies the negative if I say no. Because why would you ask a question? It's an
automatic question that reporters ask after a race like that. It's like, okay, you're out. Are you going to support?
I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about the debate stage, where it's like before the debates start. That's what they did in a number of debates. They do it in a lot of debates. Like, will we all pledge to support whoever wins the primary? Why would you ask that question? That's a stupid question.
Right. I mean, the party officials, wanted people to sign on, basically saying, hey, if you're going to be in this, you have to sign something saying that if you lose, you're still going to support them.
Why? But
that was something that the party wanted, not something that the candidates wanted. Something that the party made a requirement. Like, hey, you want to be on the debate?
Okay. You're right. Okay, so it's the summation of all this is the parties suck, and I hate them, and that's cool. Okay, I hate them. I fucking it's stupid. It's dumb because it underscores the fact that actual representation of what the people around them and the people they represent functionally want is not important. It's that we win and they lose. That's what's important. Our party wins, their party loses. It's not about what's good for the people.
For incumbents, it's holding on to that. I mean, it is a power of sorts, but holding on to that power, holding on to being able to, say you're making a difference for your district at that, legislative level.
No, you're not making a difference. Not on behalf of, at least. You're making a difference, sure, I guess, technically.
They're making a difference on behalf of the people that voted for.
No, they're making a difference.
Most of what they say and what they said they were going to do, they do in the guise to remain that support. It's not to gain support of others that didn't vote for them. It's usually just to maintain that likeness and get reelected again. So I agree with you. They're not doing as much for the entirety of their constituents. But yes, a lot of what they do once they are in power are going to be more geared towards those that supported it. I mean, they've got to pay back some of those people that voted for them, businesses that supported them, big money donors, bring them into the campaign or give them a cushy job somewhere.
Corruption?
In a sense.
I mean, Trump's not even joking anymore. I like it. I appreciate it. It's one of the things I like Trump. But that's probably my favorite thing about Trump. He says quiet part a lot of the time. Apparently, at some recent fundraiser, he was talking about, he gave like a specific number. He wanted like $1 billion out of this fundraiser. And in not so direct, but not remotely indirect way, basically said, if I'm not the president, you're going to pay more than what you're going to donate to me in taxes next year.
Cool.
Like, I mean,
taxes are going up.
If Biden stays in the White House, all those tax cuts that I put together are going to fall apart. That's basically what he put. That was basically his pitch.
Because he gave a bunch of tax cuts to the general populace. No, his tax cuts went to the rich.
Yeah, because he was talking to a room of rich people. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I thought that it was in the guise of trying to scare general populace. So
no,
he was just trying to scare rich people.
No, we pay. We poor people. We pay for everything. Yes. Absolutely, 100%. Anyway, can we go back local? I'm trying to think if there's anything local that mattered happened. It's not a big local week.
I saw something about Blount County, like their fire department, but I don't remember the exact.
There's like a double murder in Anderson County and Anderson County schools. That's a weird story. Have you follow any of that shit?
Oh, some
grade fixing.
Yeah, I think it had to do with the coach, or Because I saw like I think football coach either quit or got fired. I think it was a football coach or some coach, but it sounded like he was semi-involved because his statement was basically, "I didn't ask for any grades to be changed. I don't have the power to change grades. I'm just a coach. I'm not a teacher." Even though I'm sure they do.
I know
like
a principal
class, so it kind of seems like that there were athletes that were involved. That I think he was like he was asking for grades to be changed, like from an F to a D, just so I guess either they wouldn't fail or they could remain on the team. But I think it went up to like the principal's gone.
Yeah,
like a vice principal.
What was it Carter? Clinton.
I think it was Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton. Yeah, I haven't really followed the story. It just kind of pops up here and there.
I saw a little bit. I saw that. I was like, they quoted the coach, and I was like, so that sounds like the coach was involved in it, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's another one of those things that just kind of happens behind the scenes, and nobody talks about. When they shouldn't get in trouble because everybody else does it too. So why don't we just do it for everybody? I mean, it's always been like a running joke in TV shows of like college athletes and the coach kind of going to.
Yeah, it was the plot A point of the new Jumanji movie.
I didn't see it. I did see it. There was a cool video of Deion Sanders calling out some of his players. I guess some of their teachers had sent him like letters or notes or emails or whatever about specific players. Talking about them like, not paying attention in class. It was basically just going off on the players like, you guys are here as education. Like, you guys may...
Deion doesn't give a fuck about that. Not really.
Okay. Never mind.
He may call them out. I'm not saying he didn't call them out or whatever. He may... Well, okay, let me back up. He may give a fuck about that, but he doesn't give a fuck about that. He wants to win football games. He wants to be the best coach, and he wants to continue the legacy of primetime.
I don't know. He's Colorado State.
Colorado.
They're
not good.
That's what I was about to say. I don't think he has any high aspirations of trying to turn that team around and be national champions.
There was a story.
He cares
that came
about
out,
the football team, but I don't think that.
There's a story came about. It was a scholarship player that was there, or something like that. God, it was a fucking weird ass story. It was basically like. Both Coach Sanders and his son, who is the starting quarterback, Sanders, Cy Sanders, I don't remember what his fucking name is, was basically like, they, God, it was a really weird ass story. I don't know. I can't even reference it well. It seemed really gross. This guy was trying to play, he was trying to get his education, trying to do his shit, and was given nothing, was given no room, no space, no nothing. And then when he was trying to leave, the coaching staff was making it hard for him to do his transfer shit and was trying to make it, was basically being a pain in the ass to him. It's a weird story. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember the details. I just remember reading the story and going, that's fucked up.
Gotcha.
And it was not pro Sanders. But I don't.
I like to think that it was genuine from the heart, and
I would hope so.
Whatever division Colorado's in, I would like to think that he was being realistic and honest with them. That like, if you guys think you're going to the NFL, fucking playing here, you're wrong.
Well, he certainly thinks his son is. But
while you're here going to school on fucking scholarship,
you better get it.
Do your studies, get your shit done.
Yeah, you definitely. That was part of that story. It's like, yeah, I don't know. His son, whatever. It doesn't matter. I apologize. I don't know enough. I don't recall enough about it to bring it up.
Gotcha.
I don't like Deion Sanders. I think he's a fucking douchebag. I hope he gives a shit.
He was a bit arrogant in his time, in his prime time.
I mean, and kudos to him. There's only two that have ever really done it. It was him and Bo Sanders playing. Bo Sanders?
Who?
Bo Sanders?
Try again?
I'm not going to try again. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
What am I trying to say?
Bo
Jackson. Fuck, you're right. Fuck. You're correct. Bo Jackson and him are the only one that ever really did it. And kudos to that. Like he's got a special place.
Does Michael Jordan count?
No.
Okay. Triple A.
I mean,
I never saw any
He
stats.
was good. He was
I don't
he
think
was
he
a
would've
solid
gotten-
baseball player, but he wasn't.
Was he? Like,
He
I always
was-
got the feeling like he would have never gotten the job
Yeah,
had he not.
He wasn't going to the show. I don't think he was ever going to the show.
No.
He was definitely.
But I didn't know if he actually belonged on that team.
No,
like,
I think
was up
he
to
was
the
definitely
level.
he was definitely functionally worthy of a like he could play for the Smokies all day,
Really?
and even at the age when he was doing it, he was good enough to play in AAA ball. But, he was not. No, like he was not that. But, yeah, like there's some crazy stories about like playing a baseball game, flying out, playing a football game, flying back, playing a baseball game.
Who?
Dion or Bo, for that matter, both
Okay.
of them. Which is it's
Both of them didn't do it for
phenomenal
very long because I think Bill got hurt within like a couple years of him like being in the NFL.
to me. Yeah, I mean that's what it does. It's the game.
Right. That was just like a crazy weird tackle that like I think it had to do like
Yeah, he fucked up his hip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments. There's people like really sports dorks. So you know the arguments of like how good he could have been at either if he would have just done one.
Right.
How big of a deal he could have been. Like Bo Jackson could have been a Emmitt Smith level running back if he wasn't trying to play baseball, or Bo Jackson could have been a. I'm trying to think of the right guy.
You would think
in
his trainers
baseball.
kept like fighting with each other. 'Cause
Sure.
football wants them to bulk up.
Right.
And baseball's
wants to
like,
trim down.
nah, dude, we need you to be able to run and
Yeah.
hit and field.
I don't know. That's what I just like. I fell so out of love. I used to love baseball, and I fell so out of love with baseball. It's such a dumb sport. Like the more I get
huge into baseball.
like football's not a smart sport either. Like it's really not, but it's at least got a entertainment value to it that's really tight. Like it's tight, and you can't help but continue. Take the big one. Take the big bad boy in there. Finish that off. Yeah. But baseball's at least got that, or football's got the tight entertainment value. Like football has done really well with making it into a packaged product. Baseball sucks on TV. Baseball's only fun live.
See, I'd rather watch baseball on TV.
No, I'd rather be at a game.
Get a much better view.
Yeah, but baseball, like on TV,
I can change the channel if I want.
right. Exactly. That's my point. Is like football live,
It's not-
football live,
I'm
or
not
on,
drinking $20 like soft drinks and $50 bags of popcorn.
but football live, or on TV is captivating. Like you sit there and you watch it. You watch the game.
Yeah, I just went to that
Baseball-
one NFL game in high school.
Baseball,
I could care less.
Baseball, I'll take a nap if I don't change the channel.
Is that where you? Yeah, did you go to that one?
Atlanta,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
played the Atlanta against San Francisco.
Yeah.
I remember. It's a good time.
Shitty seats. That was to be expected. It was part of it. It was a big package deal.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be the person on like who we don't even know how we got those tickets. It's like, yeah, we need 150 tickets all in the general same area.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you say? 150 tickets?
Yeah, they do sections that way. They do all sorts of shit that way.
Yeah, I'm
all
sure
the
they have
time.
ways to do it.
Especially back then, Atlanta was not good. It wasn't like they were selling out anyway.
That's true.
So we're going to take this entire section and block it off for bulk shit.
Yeah.
And we'll sell the rest of the stadium out. But, you know.
Yeah, we were behind one of the end zones.
I don't remember the game at all. I don't remember the event really at all. I just remember going.
I remember practicing. So we walked onto the practice field, or walked out onto the field itself to practice, which the hash marks were in different places, so we had to
Yeah.
get used to where that was going to be.
Yeah, that was the thing.
I had both guys on either side of me that were gone, which is, when you're marching, that's your general reference point of where you are in formation. And I'm like, shit. It's two
Yeah.
asshole fucking freshmen for whatever reason. Like, I think one quit and like one like couldn't make the trip. I was like, oh great, so I got gaps on both sides of me.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
why we
it's-
walked down the field to practice before the game, and I was like, there's Steve Young.
Yeah,
Still
college
tell
ball.
people, I'm like, that's probably one of the most famous people I've got to see like in person.
Yeah, college ball. Like college is the same way. Like when we played in the Titan Stadium one year. Vandy was rebuilding their stadium, and so we played. UT played Vandy in Nissan Stadium.
Huh.
And the main difference in pro stadiums and college stadiums is pro stadiums have seats, college stadiums have bleachers.
Are there no college stadiums that have seats?
Some do. Some sections do, but for the most part, they're all bleachers. And so when you're in the band, in a seat, and you're a drummer, you're fucked.
Yeah.
There's no way on any drum that you are comfortable because it just doesn't work. There's no way it works. It's just impossible. We played it. That was the second time I was in the Georgia Dome. We played the SEC Championship one year in the Georgia Dome. Was before they rebuilt it. That sucked.
They rebuilt it, tore it down, and built a new one.
Well, yeah.
The Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
But the old one, we played there in high school, and then I played there again in college.
Yeah, the Georgia Dome. Yeah.
And it sucked. It sucks. There's no functional good way to be a drummer in a pro stadium in sports. But it was a good time. Don't get me wrong. We had in our flip folders, we had Roses on My Mind in our flip folders because had we won, we would have gone to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, and we lost. And that's when we went to Dallas and got our fucking balls frozen off. It was a terrible trip.
Yay!
I remember that trip. I remember parts and pieces of that trip. Like we did the Rose Bowl or we did the Cotton Bowl. So we went to the Cotton Bowl, got our asses kicked by Kansas State. We marched in the Cotton Bowl parade to 0 spectators in 4 inches of snow. It was a bad day.
Nice.
It wasn't quite. It was a different type of bad day. I don't know if I'd equate the two. We did Bush Jr.'s inauguration while I was there. That was a different bad day.
Yeah,
because it was raining and
I was about to say, I
cold
think you said
and
it was
terrible.
raining that day.
I have many weird, hazy memories of bad days of being in that band. I loved every minute of it. Don't get me wrong. I love band. Band is the best thing ever. If I could start an adult marching band that did cool shit like college and high school bands did, I would do it today.
Is there an age restriction for like the Crossmen and Madison Scouts and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, it's like 22.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like 22. It's barely adult.
Gotcha.
That was one of my mom's objections, is because some of them were adults. That was my mom's objection to me and you going to Atlanta to see Radiohead when we were seniors. When did we go to Hi-Fi Buys and see Radiohead in Atlanta?
It might have been like 19 or 20, but it was definitely after we had graduated high school. You were in college.
My time frame sucks, but
I don't know if you should go to Atlanta to see a rock concert.
Well, it's because you were a fucking stoner.
Take your Bible with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's not wholly inaccurate rendition of my mother. Not at all. Glad my mom doesn't listen to the show.
Yeah. I think I saw your dad walking down the street the other day. Kind of looked like him. His eyes looked squintier than normal.
No, we all
I
have.
wasn't quite sure. I was like, "Was that him?"
We have pretty squinty eyes, so I don't know.
It was bright out too. I kind of like waved. I'm like, I'm not sure if that was him or not.
Where did you see him?
Walking down Westland.
That stupid fucking labradoodle?
No, he was just walking.
No.
I think he was by himself.
No.
I know I saw him once with the dog.
There's no way it's not.
He wouldn't have been walking with the dog. Gotcha.
Dog's coming with him. He likes that. That dog is his favorite kid of
Maybe
all
it
time.
was somebody else then. I did see him once with the dog.
His dog is so smart. Yeah. His
Dog's so smart.
He likes that dog more. Yeah. Going back to the earlier reference in the show, he may like that dog more than he likes my sister. And my sister is definitely the favorite.
That's bias right there. Uh-oh. New York City's rat-hating mayor, Eric Adams, is once again ticketed for rats at his Brooklyn property.
I don't even know.
Mayor of New York City.
Yeah, no, I know that. Like, I don't even know where to go. Like, I mean,
I don't know if he's campaigned on it or something.
did you see? There's a documentary called like Rat America. Have you seen it?
Nah.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard a couple people talk about it. It's basically like it's like a real deep dive documentary into like how the rat population works and shit like that, especially in major metropolitan areas or whatever. and they estimate that the biomass. So literally, like if you took all the rats in New York City and threw them on a scale, they would be heavier than if you took all the people and threw them on the other side of the scale.
That's scary.
It's a lot of rats.
Yeah.
But and again,
cockroaches.
It's not New York. And it's not specific to New York. It's most major metropolitan areas. Like the rat populations are that fucking huge.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
no more
We can
rats.
bring it
It's like the Norwegian rats that are like twice the size of what we would think of as a rat.
Oh, you can bring it back. We can bring that back local. And Three Rivers has gotten rid of their rat population. Three Rivers Market in Happy Holler. It's a co-op grocery store.
They got rid of theirs? What do you mean?
It was mice. They had a mice. They failed their health inspection and got shut down for a couple of days.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I don't know. I don't get it. Like it. This like it's a
It's not
perfect
really a
example
storm.
to me.
It's something that's easy to happen depending on if you're close to any kind of, well, it wouldn't have to necessarily be close to a wooded area, but
Nope. It's mental note. Like we could talk about co-ops as a premise in a future show because I have a real issue. Like the co-ops are a perfect example of why I don't like the super left.
okay.
You okay? Sorry, somebody fell. Anyway. Eric Adams has rats at his house, even though he hates rats, and got a ticket for having rats.
And I think it was like apartment properties that he owned.
Oh, so he's not doing his due diligence.
The city health inspector at a row house he owns in the Bedford Studevant neighborhood. He observed fresh rat droppings and a rat burrow at the front left base of the staircase at the property. It was his fifth rodent violation since he became mayor in January 2022.
Well, I'm glad that the system doesn't care that he's the mayor and is going ahead and following through with what they're supposed to. I appreciate that.
Those are fucking bitch to get rid of.
Oh, hell yeah. But I appreciate that it's like, okay, just because you're mayor, buddy, doesn't mean you're exempt from
Right.
the rules. This is the rules that we have. I appreciate that.
I mean, let alone in New York City.
Yeah. No doubt. You got one more?
So I heard this. I guess there was a little bit of an update on the stingray that was pregnant in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It says, I guess it had named Charlotte has developed a rare reproductive disease that has negatively impacted her reproductive organs.
Right. This is the one that impregnated itself?
I'm pretty sure. I thought this was the one. Yeah, pregnant stingray, with no male companion, now has a reproductive disease.
Well,
let's see, findings are...
If the shark impregnated her, then, I mean, I can imagine.
To focus on Charlotte's health and well-being. The Ridge Mountains, let's see here. She was pregnant with as many as 4 pups and could give birth within 2 weeks.
What? Like, who names this shit? I mean, seriously.
What?
Stingray? Stingrays have pups. Dogs have pups. Like, who makes these? Like, I really don't get it.
Scientists.
Like, why? Like, what rationale is in place that says a baby stingray and a dog baby should have the same name? I'm not asking you for an answer that you don't have.
Why is it a murder of crows? I don't know.
I think it's funny. That's all I was trying to say. I was making a joke on the joke.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think it's funny. I guess I don't see it. I'd say it is odd, but
okay, odd. Maybe that's a better. That is a better adjective on the situation.
I don't think it's odd. I think there are so many fucking animals to come up with a new name for the young baby of a certain animal. I mean, hell, you have different names for
pigs.
I think
are
it's
crazy.
just like young horses between like a male and female have different names.
Well, there's like apparently pigs. A sow is a female pig whom has had piglets, and there's another word for female pig who has not been impregnated yet.
Is that Miss Piggy?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's a bunch of, like, pigs are weird in that, and like cow, like most domesticated, like, farm animals. Yeah, there's a bunch of farm, like, most farm animals have a generic male and a stud male that goes out and impregnates, and there's different names for them. And then you have different names for females who have been impregnated and who have not. Which I think is weird. Like, that pig is a adult female pig who has never been pregnant. That's a different name than an adult female pig who has been pregnant.
Right.
Like, why would you put that much effort into naming? Like, you could name the pig. You don't have to name the different. It's not a different type of pig. Different phase of pig. I don't know.
I wonder if it goes back to just kind of like trading of livestock. That you couldn't just call a pig like,
right.
hey,
right?
Like,
She's
if I'm going to buy that, I need to know that she, has not been impregnated, or she hasn't had like 20 litters.
I want to know that she's had some litters because I want to know she's capable of carrying.
Yeah,
yeah. I get it. All right, it makes sense. All right, last call, my friend. Let's round this thing out.
Let's see here.
I got a bunch of goddamn kids in my house.
I guess Manhattan Henge is coming up.
What is that?
Never heard of it? Never seen the picture?
Manhattan what?
Manhattan Henge. It's when, I'm not sure what like Main Street it is, but it's basically like, one day of the year that the sun will set like perfectly like right in the middle of, the skyline.
Cool story.
They call it Manhattan Henge. I guess it's coming up.
Like, is it actually like celestially dated, or is it just like is it?
No, it's just I mean, they know that it happens around or on like the same day or whatever every year.
Right, but it's not like an actual like.
No,
solstice.
the city was not planned in the effort to have this happen on a particular day.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just like, hey, that's where the street hits, and we put big fucking sky rises up, and all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, on this day,
this happens.
It looks like kind of like Stonehenge.
Well, I mean, it's saying like the ancient peoples had figured it out on purpose,
right?
And it's not impossible that the ancient peoples who had happened to live in
New Amsterdam,
well, prior to there was an Indian population that lived there.
Yeah.
And whatever.
So then you think our streets would be relatively similar to the same causeways that
it might have been. I don't know. I'm saying it was or wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I doubt it. Like, realistically on this one, I doubt it.
I don't think indigenous Americans did as much really with the calendar as far as
not like that. No, not North American. South Americans did.
Yeah.
Like.
Central
Machu
and
Picchu
South.
And shit like that. Like they were celestially aligned and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Machu Picchu is still fucking crazy.
It's one of those I want to go, but I don't.
It's a fucking hike to get up to it.
But like,
I mean, if you look at all like how they built, no mortar at all. That is just rocks
rock
being
on rock,
perfectly placed together.
But
and you look around, and you're like, wait, they carried these rocks from where?
Right. It's insane. But it's like one of those, like, a lot of those sites, it's like, man, I really want to go. Like, I want to go to Stonehenge. But I really don't. Like, I want to be...
It's like right off a main road.
I want to be, like, so obnoxiously wealthy that I can buy it for a day. That's the only way I want to go. I don't want to go and have to fucking deal with that shit.
I mean, a lot of people say there's a price for everything.
Yeah. I'm just not in that... I'm not in that demographic where I have that price. Like, I want to be like, I'm doing a documentary, and I want to buy it for the day for my documentary. I don't want a bunch of people there.
Right.
And I also want to have a rain date in case the weather sucks.
It's true. I mean, you could probably at least pay off the major tour companies that come there.
Yeah, but it'd be still obnoxiously expensive.
Probably. I don't know how many tours they do there every day.
Oh, like that's maybe that's the company I need to build. I need to make the company that makes the tourism for the uber wealthy. You want to go see the super sites? We just rent it out for you for the day, and I just buy blocks, and then if I don't have anybody booked for that, I just go do it myself. Because my blocks are going to be so goddamn expensive to buy, I'm going to have to charge 3 times that to them to do it. Blah 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 blah.
Exclusive concierge.
Yeah, I'll get you like one of those guys you see on the documentaries that does the shows. He's going to be your host, and he's going to walk around and tell you about it and answer all your questions and all that kind of shit. And I want to go do that. That's what I want to do. I want to go and be the cameraman of the documentary you see on Stonehenge. Except I'm not working. I'm just sitting there going, tell me about it.
All right, focus.
Yeah. And the guy that's there is telling me about it. He's like, this is all cool stuff here. And it's like, cool. And then I ask my stupid questions, and he's like, you're paying me a lot of money. Okay, I'll tell you the stupid answer to your stupid question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. But I don't have that kind of money, so go to my Patreon that I don't have. We did a show, everybody. Thanks for listening. That was a really wandering show. Trump is officially a criminal. Whatever. I don't fucking care. I don't want to bring that back up. AlmostHuman.com. Go to the website. Check all the cool stuff we have there. Holler Boo is in October. Go check out that. Register your Soapbox Derby card. Register to be a vendor. If you are listening to this as soon as we release, stop what you're doing. Go downtown. Go to the Langley Building. Check out Over the Edge. It's a cool event for cool people doing cool stuff, and I really appreciate what they're doing. So you should too. Tell us about it. Tell friends about us. We're going to keep doing our show. We're going to keep doing what we do. I'm still on a little bit of a high from rappelling off that building, so I'm going to stop talking. Bye.